All right. In three, two. Welcome back to Toyota Sports Talk. Oh, we are getting closer and closer to the Summer Olympics in Paris. It's going to be a great Olympic Games, and the DMV is going to be well represented. We've talked to some fencers, we've talked to some swimmers, track and field athletes. How about a diver? Yes, sir. Greg Duncan went to James Madison High School, Nova guy, and he is going to the Olympics for the first time. Greg, appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
How does it feel? Has it sunk in?
It's starting to get more real for sure. We had a couple meetings as a Olympic team. We just started practice up again, and yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit more real for sure.
What was that moment like? Seeing the scoreboard, seeing the scores, and realizing you're going to the Olympics.
I mean, it's everything. Like all of the training that we've done, all of the ups and downs. It's been a long year, honestly. I had sort of a heartbreak in December. I was just diving wise. Like I was seeded really well into our winter nationals and then didn't perform in the final
Mm-hmm.
and didn't qualify for any world's team. And that was the first time I was left off the world's team in a couple of years. So I had to regroup over the past 6 months since January and kind of re-up the mental side and just see like I had some holes to fix. And so, I mean, that moment was just a culmination of all the work that the team and I have put in for sure.
It's amazing you say that because this is kind of a trend here because I've talked to several other DMV athletes over the last couple of weeks, and they've mentioned the mental side of how they've had adversity, suffered some heartbreak, and they needed some help because they have the physical tools. You can physically do it, but the mental aspect is such a huge part of sport. Kind of explain that a little bit of how you help that mental side to reset.
Well, I'd say at this point in my career, I've been diving for 15 plus years. It's like 99% mental, 1% physical. Like over the past 2.5 years specifically, physically, I've been the best I've ever been. Like I'm peaking physically, maturity wise, all of that. And at the end of the day, with that type of development physically, you have mental expectations and you look around and say, oh, well, I can do these things. Like I'm good enough physically to do these. And with that thought comes expectation. And the expectations of winning, of this, that, and the other can become a big pressure that you put on yourself. Obviously, for most high performance athletes, the immense pressure we put on ourselves is bigger than anything anyone else can put on us. So at that point, it's like, okay, if it's 99% mental, I have to be the one to say, okay, there's things I can get better at. And I can go talk to a sports psych. I can do more visualization work. I can talk to myself better. Like there are so many different little wins in this sport, especially diving, because it's just you, that mentally you have to appreciate and you have to continually work on, no matter how good you are physically.
Does it make it sweeter that you made the Olympics knowing what you've gone through?
100%. And I mean, just the way that we did it, right? Like we have 12 dives, and these 12 dives are cumulative over two different competitions. So we have a preliminary and then we have a final, and the scores carry over from the preliminary. And after the first six, we were only up by 0.15. And in swimming terms, that's like 1/10 or 1/100th of a second. I mean, just it's unbelievable. So then to know that, after all the things we've gone through over the past year plus, and then in that moment, only getting it really by 2 points, it was unbelievable. It made it that much sweeter for sure.
So you're teaming up with Tyler Downs, and you're going to be competing in the synchronized 3 meter diving.
Correct.
Explain to our viewers what exactly that is.
Okay, so there's 6 dives that we compete, and those 6 dives make up the first two are voluntaries. So those are easier dives required by every team, and it's max DD degree of difficulty of 2.0. So everyone will do the first 2 dives, and we'll all kind of be really close in the competition. We're probably going to be around 100 points. The next 4, you're allowed to do any sort of dive. And those are where the high degree of difficulty dives come in. You'll see people doing front 4.5s. You'll see people doing inward 3.5s, just a whole bunch of difficulty. And that is where, medals are won and lost, right? So we got 8 teams in our competition in the world. There's China, Great Britain, and a bunch of other really, really good countries. And we just have a final. So it's one list straight at it for, gold or a medal, which is going to be incredible.
So the synchronized part is obviously you have the individual aspect, but you got to be on the same page with Tyler. I mean, you guys have to be lockstep. What's that process like?
Yeah, so the synchronized part, we both go at the same time. We count, so Tyler counts and sets our rhythm throughout the meet and throughout each one of our dives. So as we stand up there, he'll say, ready, 1, 2, 3, go. And then we go. And yeah, the whole point of synchro is to be in time, in rhythm with your partner, right? So everything we do before the dive, we try to time up, really well. Everything we do when we go sit down in between rounds, we try to time up really well and just make sure we're on the same wavelength so that when that whistle blows and the referee says, yeah, you can go, we're in that same time, in that rhythm.
So you used to play football, you used to play lacrosse. How on earth did you find diving?
It's actually pretty insane. So I went to school with this diver named Grayson Campbell, and we went to elementary school together. We went to middle school and high school together. We also played football and lacrosse together when we were kids. And his mom, at the time, Grayson was doing some summer league diving in our Northern Virginia Swimming League.
Yeah.
And his mom was like, oh, Greg should try it. So I did. And then at the time, Grayson's coach, summer coach, was like, hey, Greg, you're good. You have potential. Like, if you want to go D1, it's really not going to be in football and it won't be in lacrosse. So try diving. And I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. So at the age of, I don't know, I was probably in fifth or sixth grade, I quit lacrosse and football. It might have been even fifth grade. Yeah. And then from that point on, it was summer league diving only. And then in Dominion Dive Club in Northern Virginia for our year round training.
Amazing. And with that being said, how much pride do you have to represent this region? And there's a lot of athletes that come out of this DMV region. You're well aware, and you're one of them. What is that like?
I mean, again, it's so much. It means so much to me, to my family. I can't tell you the amount of people that have reached out to me from Dunloring, which was my, diving club in the summer that I would go to, and just saying like, hey, you're representing the Dolphins really well, or hey, you're representing Madison really well. And again, this level of athletics is so unique and it's so, I don't know, different that all it can give me is pride to know that there are so many people behind me, behind all of us. And, the DMV is such an amazing area.
So you're a first-time Olympian. What are you looking forward to most about being a part of the Olympic experience?
I mean, over the past couple of years, I've just made so many friends in all of the other countries that I've competed against so regularly that it's just going to be an amazing experience to be with them at that point and share these memories. Yeah. And know that, everyone, we have 5 people from Purdue going to the Olympics, like our dive team. We have one from Puerto Rico, one from Latvia, and then 3 affiliated with Purdue, right? So to me, it's just the experience of being with my friends and knowing that we've all put in the work and we deserve to be here. I mean, everyone deserves to be there, obviously, but just to know, like, yeah, we did it and we're going to enjoy the hell out of it.
Along those lines, you want to enjoy the experience, opening ceremonies, do all that stuff. How do you find that balance of enjoying that aspect, but also, listen, it's a business trip. You're a competitor. You want to win. How do you find that balance?
So we leave July 14th and then we'll be in Berlin for a couple of days as like a little pre-acclimation camp. And that kind of sets the whole tone, right? So we want to get there and say, yeah, this is cool. Like we're excited. And then from the, 18th, we get to Paris the night of the 18th. And then we have, outfitting the 19th and then ceremonies, the opening ceremonies the 26th. In between those periods, we have to be hitting our markers. We got to be sleeping right. We got to be eating right. We got to be hydrating. And then obviously, yeah, the training piece. At the end of the day, when we walk into the pool, it's a business trip, like you just said. So we're treating it the exact same as we would any practice, the Olympic trials we just had. That type of, mindset and attention to detail will never change. Obviously, some nights we'll have opening ceremonies or we'll have dinners or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, we're there to compete and we're there to represent the red, white, and blue the best we can.
You mentioned earlier visualization. Have you allowed yourself to visualize getting an Olympic medal on that podium yet?
Yeah, 100%. I think, knowing how successful we've been in this event as a country, in 2021, we got a silver medal. In 2016, we got a silver medal. So just knowing what the divers before us have done, allows us to say, these are the legitimate shots we have at, an outcome, right? A result. And we know that last summer we got fourth and we qualified the Olympic spot. Tyler and I did. So diving's kind of weird. We have to get the quota spot for the country, and then we have to go to trials and then, qualify again. And so, we know we've been in there and we've been in that fight and we've medaled a bunch of different times at other meets internationally. So yeah, it's time to visualize what that looks like and what that feels like being on the podium.
Awesome. Well, Greg Duncan, we'll be watching from afar. Go get that medal and enjoy the experience.
Thank you, Scott. It's been a pleasure.
All right, much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk. Stay with us.